Let's talk about how to prepare our thermometer to check a food temperature. I've got what we need here on the counter. I have a calibrated thermometer, a container of pimento cheese that we're going to check a temperature on. I have some alcohol swabs, and I just want to talk to you about how to actually correctly prepare this thermometer. We've got an alcohol swab that we could poke through to try to sanitize, but that's not what we want to do. That's not the proper way to use the alcohol swab with the thermometer. We've got, let me open one here to show you. I want you to handle it as little as possible, but you've got to handle it a little bit to get it open. And we don't want to just sanitize the back end of it. We want to go the length of the probe with the alcohol swab and make sure that we get the whole thing. We've got some thin portions, thin areas in this container of pimento cheese and some thick areas. So when you've got a thin tip, a probe like this, you can actually get a couple of different temperatures and see what you're at. And I'm not touching the container, I'm just staying in that thin part of the food. And we're at about 40. We're going to go to the thicker part, also about 40, so we're good on that. Now, when you pull that probe out, we've got some residue of food left on the probe. So a good way to handle that is to take your clean paper towel and just wipe that off. And then you can actually take that alcohol swab that you use. If it's still wet with alcohol, you can use that again. You've cleaned off the food particle. And that's a good way to sanitize it and prepare for the next temperature check. Now, if you find that you don't have alcohol swabs and you need to use the facility sanitizer, you want to make sure that any sanitizer you use on your thermometer has been properly mixed, so you want to make sure it's the right concentration, and you also want to make sure you get the correct contact time depending on the chemical. So alcohol swabs are approved for this sanitizing step of your thermometer probe, and if you have to use the facility sanitizer, make sure it's correctly mixed and you get the right contact time.